I got to play the video. Hold
I
on.
know. Okay, I was ready.
Hey, folks. Welcome to episode 24. Does that sound about right to you? 24?
Jack Bauer, best TV character ever.
Oh, man. I've heard they're bringing him back again?
Him back?
I'm not sure.
They tried without him, and I watched it because I was a huge 24 fan. But
I know. I watched it. I just couldn't like it. You need Jack Bauer. It's just really hard to like start a new generation.
Which is funny. I want you to go back and rewatch season 1 and count how many times you see cameras. It's crazy.
Really?
Like it was like such a. I mean, it was a big production, but like I would see the dolly track and the camera move in on the right. There's a couple times in season 1 where right. And he's kind of a sissy a little bit in the first season, and then he gets like more badass as like it goes on. Anyway,
this is true. Once again, our podcast rating is now explicit because Rich brings.
Leave it to me to make it PG-13.
Oh gosh. Yeah, no, I agree. Season 1 of 24 is actually interesting to me because it made me viscerally like upset because they did more things like put his daughter and his wife in harm's way. You know, like, we're going to kill your wife unless you betray the president type thing. And you're like, ah! Like, that's just like impossible decisions to make. And I feel like in the later seasons, it was more of like, it's a race to show up to stop a ticking time bomb. It just like it's like save the world versus like make a choice between your daughter or the president. It's just like I don't know. Like for some reason, I like the later seasons better. And then you had President Palmer, who was the best president ever. Best president ever. Literally, President David Palmer. Was that his name? David Palmer, I think.
Yeah. Well, and his brother. I mean, I liked everything about the show.
Yeah. I don't know how we got on the 24 kick. I guess.
I don't even
24.
like
episode
watching,
24.
That's the only reason I like the Allstate commercials is because
President David Palmer.
Palmer. Yeah.
I forget his name, but he's like the best. Yeah, I don't know. He's just one of my favorite.
Talk about an evil wife. I mean, he was America's first black president, David.
Mm-hmm. Was he black president on the show before Obama was?
Oh yeah, like years.
Okay. But see, because I watched 24 later. Like I didn't watch it when it was.
I watched it live. I was like in high school.
I don't think I started 24 until I don't know, probably until I was 23.
You're probably 24.
I was probably 24 when I started 24. You know, I started watching 24, I believe, on my way, like when I was in Switzerland, which would have been 2008. So, I don't 12 years ago. I might have been 23, something like that.
Okay. And what's your favorite Switchfoot song? 24?
My
24
favorite.
Oceans.
Yeah, it's a good song. My favorite's probably either Meant to Live or Dare to Move. I feel like I gotta say that. I don't know. Those are the ones that come to mind. But
I would say that. Well,
Rich, how you doing today?
Let's talk about our big three. Let's get into it.
Okay, you go first.
Well, I'm sticking with the trend. You'll never guess who made this cup.
Who made this cup?
Guess. I want to hear it.
Genevieve Stewart.
Incorrect. She's a great pottery maker.
Okay.
The beautiful, the talented, the amazing froyo slinging Whitney made this cup. This was made by Whitney Hines.
Ooh. Boss woman at Surfing Spoon, you know.
Shout out to Surfin' Spoon. Everybody go to Surfin', SURFIN, Spoon. I wish I had my hat. If you ever see me wearing a hat, I'm wearing a Surfin' Spoon hat. I take their pictures and make their shirts.
Yeah, Surfin' Spoon on the Outer Banks. You got to check it out. Best froyo around. Also, good friends of ours, Whitney and Jesse Hines. And Jesse's a professional surfer with he was on the cover of Surfing Magazine, like every surfing magazine there is. An amazing guy, super fun, super hilarious.
I have to watch my wife around him. That's how attractive he is.
He was also an Abercrombie model. There's like a photo of him like doing this, like with no shirt on and like barely shorts on. Like it's we always rag on him. It's awesome, but he's a great guy. I love him. Good friends with my sister as well. Hey, you know what? I do have a question for you. What kind of shoes do ninjas wear? Sneakers.
I think you did this one.
Just pretend I didn't do it.
Oh, sneakers.
Sneakers. Okay. All right. So I went paddleboarding this morning. It was gorgeous. I didn't see any sharks. You know.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. But I did. I did some reading this morning, and it was wonderful. You know what I realized? Well, is there a third thing you want to mention?
Well, I mean, I was gonna make it up, but go. I mean, the another cool a third thing could be that there's a hurricane battening down the Outer Banks as we speak.
Ooh, yeah. I wanted to mention something else about local establishments that serve ice cream in a second, but go ahead. Yeah, how are you guys feeling? Hurricane coming. It's like
It was raining earlier. Now the sun's out and it's perfect. I had a groom. I have a wedding, so I have a wedding tomorrow that was canceled from like June.
Okay.
And it moved to tomorrow, which is going to be a hurricane. So, and it's just a nightmare. I have a wedding. So in the next 10 days, I have more weddings than I've had the last 6 months. I have a wedding Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Monday, Saturday, Friday in the next 10 days.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
COVID.
Right.
Freaking COVID. So yeah, big three is, I won't have a life the next couple of weeks, but it slows back down to normal life in a week and a half.
Okay.
So
all right.
I love the pressure, honestly. I'm one of those guys. When I'm not shooting, I'm super bored. And like, just to talk about my personality type, when I'm not working when I'm not going full speed, I worry about work and I worry about what's next and I worry about making money. I worry about not making money. I love it when I'm just working full steam and it's kind of like on autopilot. Like, I love the pressure of, being in the trenches of shooting and taking a lot of pictures. So that's my big three. This hurricane is the most normal thing to happen to the Outer Banks in 2020. So like, I haven't even strapped down my trampoline or started my generator yet. Not that I'm not prepared. It's just, this is very normal for us here on the Outer Banks.
I hear you, man. I hear you. I know. I haven't even talked to my parents about it. My parents haven't even mentioned it. My parents live there, and they're like, "Yeah, I think even."
Don't worry. I'll take care of your parents. Great.
They did. You know what? They did just get their Airbnb up and running, and they're like, "Yeah, we're like booked. It's great." Like, they got it up like Monday a week ago, and now it's like booked like crazy. It's kind of hilarious. I don't know. It's pretty awesome. Hey, you know what?
Stay at your parents' house.
I know. I actually don't even know what the link is. I'm
gonna hook up with them and I'm gonna get them. My dad does Airbnb and I bought him a .com. So my dad's is like chilldevilhills.com.
Ooh,
and that goes to my dad's Airbnb. So like, that's just a really easy way for your. Yeah, it just redirects to whatever the stupid long, like, Airbnb's URLs are like this. But I need to take pictures over there too.
Linda Nielsen is saying I'm still coming to the UBX tomorrow. I don't know. Is it a mandatory evacuation yet?
It is for Hatteras, but like, it's going to be blowing 30, 40.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't no thing.
They might not let tourists in. I don't know. It'd be interesting. Hey, so one of my things that I did this weekend is I did a family photo shoot for my friends, Brandon and Whitney Knoll, who are here. I'm going to show this real quick. I did a family photo shoot. Here's a couple of the photos from it. Pretty fun. I don't know if you can even see these, Rich.
I'm just smiling and pretending that I can.
Yep. They did the whole Southern thing with pink shorts and pink shirts for the boys, and they're an adorable little family. Lots of fun. So I did that. I think Saturday night, something like that. So it's another one.
Man, you need a new camera. If you're doing all these shoots, you need a new camera.
I know. We're working on it. Trying to get our hands on that R5. It's supposed to be in the mail, but I don't know. Is it? So one other thing I wanted to mention is that John's Drive-In, which is another iconic, legendary spot in Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. I've been going there my entire life.
Remember when I told you it was for sale, like live,
you did.
Like a month ago?
Yeah, and I was like, I wonder who's going to buy it. And then it turns out it's like, I don't know. Do you know Chelsea pretty well? Like, I grew up with Chelsea.
She was in my grade.
Okay,
she was in my, yeah.
Chelsea, formerly Jones, like now Jordan. That's her last name, though, right? Chelsea Jordan.
Yeah.
Is like one of my good friends growing up. Her and her brother Brendan, and then their parents. Anyways, like she bought John's Drive, and I'm like, yes, like, so it's like one of my good friends. Like, I know it's gonna be in good hands because that's like one of my favorite places in the world. So if you ever go to the Outer Banks, you have to check out John's Drive-In in Kitty Hawk, and you have to check out Surf and Spoon in Nags Head. All right. So moving on, Rich, what are we going to talk about today? I'm actually really excited about that. I've been wanting to do this for a while, and it also has to do with our giveaways that we're going to be doing today. What are we going to talk?
How do they get a giveaway? How do they get a giveaway
Well,
first?
let's tell them what we're going to talk about, and then
Okay,
I'll tell them what the
tease
giveaways
them.
are, and then
Okay.
I'll tell them how they get a giveaway in just a second.
All right, I'm firing. I'm 7 out of 10. I'm a 7 out of 10. All right, so the thing we are going to talk about today is quite popular. I would say like the last how many years? 10?
I don't know. I've been hearing about this for a long time, but yeah, I think it's really become very popular in the last 5 years, specifically the last 2 or 3.
Yes.
Do you want me to say it? Okay. Today we're going to talk about basically personality types by way of the Enneagram. All right. So if you've ever heard of the Enneagram, it's spelled ENNEA.
Don't spell that wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
Not Enneagram. Yeah.
It's not a mammogram. It's an Enneagram.
Yeah.
Okay. And it starts with E. Enneagram. So think like Eni, sort of like eeny miny. Enneagram. Has anyone done the Enneagram or taken the Enneagram test? There's an amazing test.
I took it
that you
today.
can. You took it today. And so basically, it's a personality type test. Okay. And it's phenomenal. It's been so helpful for my wife and I in our marriage because like we can frustrate the heck out of each other. I know none of you guys have ever frustrated your spouses or your business partners or anything like that.
Never.
But it's really helpful to learn about yourself and learn about different personality types and how you guys can mesh or even clash, but understanding how to work through those different things. So we thought it'd be fun to talk about my favorite personality test there is, and kind of do a little do an episode today and maybe some future episodes if you guys like it. Enneagram for photographers. So we thought it'd be pretty fun to really talk about that. So what we're going to do today is we're going to do I think like 5 giveaways. All right, I think we're going to do 5 giveaways. And you're like, oh my gosh, so we're going to pick 5 winners, and we're going to give away 2 books from I think the best book that I know of on Enneagram is called The Road Back to You, and it's by a guy named Ian Cron, who I've heard is an amazing guy. I've probably seen him in coffee shops in Franklin, Tennessee before I moved down here, because like it seems like all of my friends know him. But I don't know that I've ever met him, or if I have, it was like I didn't realize that he was the Enneagram guy or something like that. But his book, The Road Back to You, is incredible. We're going to give away 2 of those books today. He's not sponsoring this episode or anything. I just think it's like the best resource on it. It's called The Road Back to You. So we're going to give away two winners are going to win that, and then 3 people are going to win the personality test. There's like a $12 test, and I'm just going to buy it for 3 of you guys. So 5 of y'all are going to win. Something, we're going to do a giveaway to 5 of you guys. So all you have to do to be eligible to win those books and the test, because it's like $12 test. There's free ones, but don't go take the free ones. They'll confuse you, Go take the real one. So we're going to give away 3 of those and 2 books to 5 of y'all. So all you have to do is just share this episode, say Enneagram for photographers, or David and Rich are talking about Enneagram and for photographers. Share this if you're listening live, and then one of you guys who shares this episode, this live recording, will win one of those 5 things. All right?
Your chances are high. Your chances are high.
We'll give you a high 5 because 5 of you will win. That. Yeah. Anyways, first, go ahead.
I'm excited about this because like I've known about this test and how what it means. Like my wife and I were into it like 5 years ago, and she'll still call me a 7. But the cool thing about it is I like the. Like,
I do that to my wife all the time, by the way. I'm like, you're such a 2,
Yeah.
But it helps me. It helps me. Go ahead, continue.
Dude, like on a looks scale, or I'm just kidding.
We'll talk about it. 2 is 2 worse than 7? I don't know. We'll find out in this episode.
Yeah, we'll find out. So the thing about it is, I'm excited to see how that relates to like us as a photographer. Because if I were to realize that about myself in like the downside, like so if you're a 2, like you're bad at this, you're good at this. If you're a 1, you're good at this, bad at this. Like knowing your strengths and weaknesses as a photographer and as a business owner can really make or break you. Because I know a lot of like great photographers. I'm talking world-class photographers, because they don't play on their strengths and weaknesses. They just end up kind of stuck and not ever going anywhere. And like it makes no sense when you look over And like we always talk about looking up to somebody, not over at your competition, but it's always funny when you look over at this amazing photographer and they're just not going anywhere. And you kind of feel self-conscious. You're like, that dude that I share a studio with is way better than me. But they're not playing into their strengths and weaknesses. And that's kind of what the fun thing about learning your type or your number, not just knowing it, but like using it to grow, can really help you as a photographer and as a business owner.
Absolutely. And understanding, your Enneagram type number, all right, it can help your friendships, it can help your just relationships with your family members, it can help your marriage, it can help your, boyfriend, girlfriend relationship, whatever relationship you're in. It can help your business, it can help understanding like life with your employees. Like there's employees that we have that are like, oh, they're this number or this number. I don't want to call anyone out specifically, but like, oh, that's why they do that. Or I have to remind them all the time, my number, like the reason I'm doing this is because this is a natural tendency for this Enneagram type. So, Rich, let's talk about what the numbers are, how many numbers there are, and stuff like that. I see a lot of people actually throwing out some of their numbers on here. If you know your Enneagram number, let us know in the comments right now on this Facebook Live. Let us know in the comments. Or if you're listening to this on the blog or whatever, let us know your Enneagram number. But how many Enneagram numbers are there, Rich? I'm going to put you on the spot. Do you remember?
There are 9.
9. There are 9 numbers. And is 9 better than 1?
No. Well, it depends.
I mean, yeah, actually, no, just
yeah, it depends.
It's not like a scale of like 1 to 10 where like, dang, man, she's a 10. It's not like that, right?
It's different. There are different types, and they all have strengths and weaknesses. There's 9 different types of personalities, and start off, if you say you're a 4, you're not all 4. It's not like you're 100% of this pie.
Crystal Livesey said, I'm a 4, and I'm like, yes, you are.
Yes, you are. She is.
Love Crystal.
She's a 4, which is a 10, on the female scale. Like, dang, girl, you a 4.
Yeah.
But man. Crystal's a 4, but she's not all 4. Like if you look at it as a pie, it's not like you're segmented to this piece of 7. You are a little bit of everything, but your personality really does come through. And I actually have like a little bit of a contradictory score. So as we go through it, we'll go through it and then we'll say what we are.
Absolutely. So one of the interesting things I want to kind of clear the air on a few different things. 1 through 9 are the numbers and their types. Okay, 2 is not better than 1. 8 is not better than 7. They're just simply types. Okay, so get the 1 to 10 scale out of your head because that has nothing to do with this. I want to clear the air there first of all, because my wife's a 2, but she's a 10. If you know what I'm saying. So it's just it's just the types. The other thing is that your number is determined. I've heard it say like this, and I believe Ian Cron says this in his book. And I've read that book, and I've listened to some podcast episodes, and I'm by no means an expert at it. Other than that, I've just been paying attention to it for a few years, and so I can kind of add some commentary on it. We might even bring some guests on here. Maybe if Ian would grace us with his presence, maybe we'll get him on here. Or maybe we'll even talk to some other photographers who are specific numbers and just talk to them about what life is like and kind of as it relates to that specific number. I think it'd be fun to kind of do a little series on this if you guys are into it. But here's the deal. The Enneagram number, the type number, is determined by what motivates the individual, not by what they do. Okay? There's a lot of personality tests that are like, you do this, or you do this, or you do that. And instead, the big difference for me, as I understand it, is that your number is determined by what motivates you. Okay, what are your motivations? Okay, and the numbers 1 through 9 have very different motivations, and I do not claim to be an expert on them all. However, it's like we're all a little bit narcissistic, and we all would rather learn about our own numbers and be like, "Ooh, what's special about me?" So that's one of the things I love about these personality tests, because I've taken the Myers-Briggs way back in the day. I think I was an ENFJ. I don't even remember what that means. Not really.
It means you're really, really dumb.
It means I'm really dumb, obviously. I took, the 5 love languages test, which I think was really helpful for my wife and I. We loved that. What other tests? I'm trying to think of what other tests.
You made me take one when I started working here. The Kelby. You made me take the Kelby.
I didn't. John did, and I don't know a lot about the Kelby, but I've heard it's awesome.
It was such a smart test. It knew I was trying to cheat. It was like you're trying to answer to be more persuasive this way, and it like would ask me questions again. it would like try to trick me from cheating. So as a manipulator, it did great.
Yeah, so the tests to me, I just pinched my finger. The tests to me are really interesting, and it's fun to learn about yourself. It's really fun to learn about your spouse and business partners, and and your employees and coworkers and stuff like that, because it helps you guys create a more synergistic relationship from understanding your strengths and weaknesses, tendencies, feelings, motivations, and all that stuff. So let's I think today it'd be fun to kind of talk about a couple of numbers and what motivate them. Does that sound good?
I love it.
So can I talk about myself first a little bit? Is that okay?
I guess so.
Sounds super narcissistic.
Are you sure you're not an 8?
So there's a couple things you'll hear. I just kind of want to like clear the air on a few things, right? The numbers 1 through 9, like I said, are not better than the other numbers. Okay, they're just simply personality types. It's kind of like saying introvert versus extrovert. There's not a better or a worse thing. And the other thing is, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think an introvert and extrovert could be any of those numbers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I think I'm learning some stuff. Remind me to talk about this, the introvert extrovert thing, in a few minutes, because I'm learning some things about myself that I didn't really know or wasn't really willing to accept. Have any of you guys ever done that, where you've taken a personality test or you've done some self-analyzation and you don't really want to accept some truths that are maybe hard truths, or maybe just things that you're like, no, that's not me, and then realizing, wow, that is me. Interesting. But there's also a thing where people will say, hey, I'm a this is not me, but they'll say, I'm a 5 with a wing 4, or Crystal is a 4 with probably a wing 5. I don't know. I don't remember. Crystal, can you let me know if you're a 4 with a wing 5? I'm not sure. And when they say a wing, what that means is that it's a connected number to your main number. Meaning, if you're a 4, your wings could be the number right above it or right below it. Okay, I know that gets a little confusing. And I don't even feel like I'm the best person to talk about wings, but I just want to clear the air, because some people will be like, yeah, I'm an 8 with a wing 2. I'm like, no, you can't be an 8 with a wing 2. If you're an 8, your wings, the only eligible wings would be a 9 or a 7, because they're the numbers that directly are above or below your number. So if you're a 9, since 9 is the top number, your wing could go all the way back around to 1. Okay? So if you're 9, your wing could be 1, or it could be an 8. Okay? So when you see people saying that, Crystal just said, yes, that's correct. So when you see people saying Crystal is a 4 with a wing 5, maybe she can tell us a little bit more what that's like. But let's talk about, I'm going to talk about the 7 for a second, because that's the one that I can talk about the most intelligently, since it's the one that I've studied the most, since that's my number. I am a 7 on the Enneagram, okay? The 7, people have different names for it, but I believe Ian Cron calls it the enthusiast. Does that sound right to you?
The 7, the 7 is technically the enthusiast. Correct.
Enthusiast, technically, by his definition. People have different things. The Enneagram has been around, as I understand it, for hundreds of years. So it's not like a new thing. It's just kind of become a little bit more popular recently.
Hindi.
So I am a 7, and I believe my wing is an 8. Okay, a 7 predominantly is the enthusiast. A lot of times, what they look like, I'm going to talk about what they look like externally, like how you guys may observe a 7, and then we're going to talk about the motivations of why a 7 is a 7. Because the interesting thing is that two numbers, their behaviors could look very similar. Okay, a 3 and a 7 might do the same things. An 8 and a 3 might do the same things. Okay, or you might perceive them as doing the same things, but what's different is the internal motivation for that individual as to why their type would be categorized as such. Okay, the 7 oftentimes is the life of the party. The 7 oftentimes wants to focus on the positive and not the negative. The 7 will look for ways to protect themselves from negative feelings. Okay, it's a weakness of theirs. They don't want to go deep on the negative things. They're like, I don't want to talk about that. They want to keep the conversation optimistic. Okay, the 7 is always trying to like try something new. Will be the life of the party. Will be like, let's do this thing when we're on this trip. Like we got to do all. They're not necessarily the most planner. A lot of times they're very spontaneous, but they want to do all the things, and they have FOMO or fear of missing out. And the 7s are often good at connecting dots between problems and opportunities, or being able to look at a big problem and being able to see like strategic points, because they're very futuristic and they're always thinking about what's next. They're not worrywarts. They're like excited, optimistic people about the future. Okay? When they're in health. Now there's health and there is, not health, when they're not doing well. But what motivates a 7? Okay? What motivates a 7? Do you know what it is, Rich?
Well, I mean, I'm not on the spot. I mean, I know they're looking for that adventure, that next thing, and they get like easily bored. Like those people are bored.
Absolutely. Yeah. We'll talk about this. So I'll say this, and I'm going to add you're going to add your commentary in just a second.
Yeah.
A 7 is motivated by the need to feel free. To feel freedom. Okay, that's why you said they're easily bored and they're always like motivated by the next thing. That's like the symptoms. That's the external actions of someone who needs to feel like they are free. Okay? 7s don't love meetings far in advance. They want to like, well, there might be like for me, I'm like, the waves might be good that day. Or, paddleboard, like the waves might be flat, so it's good for paddleboarding that day. Or, I don't know, like I might feel like grilling out hot dogs that night. So I don't really want to commit to that yet. So 7s can be very non-committal. They want to feel that sense of freedom, okay? But because of that, they're good at looking into the future and having fun and reacting spontaneously. Rich, describe, what's your number? What's your Enneagram type number?
I'm a 1. No, I'm not. Just kidding.
I was like, really?
He was like, wait, what? No, that's Kristen. Yeah, I'm also a 7. Although when I first started taking it, I would bounce between a 7 and a 3, like pretty regularly, which is pretty interesting. What you say?
Similar behaviors,
and sometimes that's like,
or it can be anyway.
Similar behaviors, which it's funny. Like when you look at the 3, maybe we'll talk about the 3 next, or maybe we'll talk about wings next. I don't know where we're going because David's a 7. We never know where we're going.
7's winging it. Yeah.
Like me, like this is. I'm gonna be vulnerable for just a quick second, just to explain this on a personal level. Like I loved starting my business, creating my business, and growing my business. But almost as soon as it got like on autopilot, which some people would love, as soon as weddings are just coming in, I'm booking more than I can handle, it immediately got boring, and I kind of hated it. Like I got no joy out of this baby that I built. I loved the struggle and the newness and the figuring out the problems of this business. And I remember telling that story to David like 3 years ago, and he's like, well, come work for me. I mean? Like I remember that aha moment on the porch at your parents' house, because it's not a bad thing, but this thing that I built and like most people would love and like, stoke that fire. It just kind of like, it was completely dead for me, to the point where I had to go to Iceland just to fall back in love with photography. I hated photography for a minute. Like I hated this awesome, freeing, amazing gift job that I had. I hated it because I became like really complacent and, apathetic to my surroundings. And I needed something to take me out of the boringness that this job had created. And it wasn't until I dove into like what a 7 was and how, because I have a mortgage and my wife's a stay-at-home mom.
Right.
So it's not like I can just stop and hit the brakes and decide to be a painter, even though I probably would get more joy out of just shutting my business down and starting a new one. I'd probably be healthier in my mind doing that. So for me as a 7 is probably a little different than yours, because you're living a pretty free life too. But like mine is almost for like myself. Like I find a lot of my self-worth and self accomplishment in the new things that I'm doing. Like always striving for that new thing. And people that aren't sevens don't get it. They're like, that's
why can't
scary
you just be
AF.
content? Like, what's the
Yeah.
matter? Like, why would you want to change a good thing? You know,
It's working. It's not broken. Like my dad's like, it's not broken. Like why? And I'm like, sorry, man. I love you. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what to do. It's who I am.
Yep. For those of you guys who are watching, I just put it up there. I believe I spelled that right. Yeah. Enneagram, Enneagram is how it's spelled. So this is a thing. No one owns it. Like this is just a personality, the personality types, and I believe it's been around a long time. I can't remember the exact origin of it, to be honest with you, at the moment. But I believe Ian Cron talks about that a little bit in his book. Rich, I relate to so much what you were saying about the 7. Okay. And kind of getting bored with moments
Life.
in your business. And so here's the thing, you know, that's me to a T. I get bored if something is too, I don't want to say routine. What's interesting is I like some routines, but I get bored if things are too like predictable. I don't know. Like, okay, so here's the deal. I feel bad about this sometimes because for me, it's like being a photographer and being successful, because I had a couple different like phases of my career of success, if you will. I was a photography assistant and I was pretty successful as a photography assistant. Not that I was making gazillions of dollars, but I was working with the best, pretty much all the best photographers in Nashville. There's a couple too that I was friends with that I never worked for, but that's fine. So that was kind of a fun career. But that was like, okay, now it's on to the next thing. And then I was shooting weddings. And then we had an amazing career shooting weddings. But it was one of those things where I would get kind of bored if I like achieved a certain level of thing and I'd have to go on to the next thing, you know? So we traveled the world shooting weddings, and we're making 6 figures and, you know, shooting, you know, destination weddings overseas and all around the country and all those different things. And it was back when travel was allowed. But anyways, and that was a lot of fun. Like we had a blast. But then it kind of, I was like, I really want to shoot like advertising or like album covers. So then I went deep into album covers, and that was like maybe let's say if the first phase was wedding photography, I know there was like a sub phase of assisting. The second phase was like commercial photography. But even in those phases, I had different like specific niches or things that I was pursuing at the time. And so I pursued album covers for a long time, and you know, for a little while, I was shooting I would say all, but a ton of the Christian bands and some country bands that were you know, in Nashville, or would pass through or had the record labels or management companies in Nashville, and that was a blast, and I had a lot of success with that. But what happened is I became, you know, discontent with it. Because that's what 7s do. A lot of times they become discontent, even with really good things, like Rich was talking about. He got his business to a point
like
where,
my job right now. Like I hate working for you. Just kidding. There's a new problem every day. Just kidding.
There's always a new problem, because we're you know, we're trying to change the world. We're trying to help photographers pursue their dreams, and it's a big undertaking. But it's been fun for me because there's always something new, and we're always doing, like in the photo mentorship, which is our, you know, our main way that we serve our students. Is you know, there's always a new course to make, which is great for a 7, you know, because there's always something new. There's always a new live TV show or TPM live that we're doing, you know, every single week or several days a week. So there's always something fun to create and something new. So it really feeds the 7 in me. I don't know if I can't speak for you, but it seems like it's feeding your 7, the 7 in you
Hate
as well. Jerk face. But I would feel a little bit bad. So here's what happened. And then it became this thing where it's like, okay, I don't just want to shoot for clients. I want to help other photographers pursue their dreams. The reason I'm doing that, I think there's a calling on my life to do that. Maybe that's why God made me, was to be able to help other photographers pursue their dreams and to go through a lot of learning and some different transitions in my careers to try to help other people. But what happened is it got to the point where where I felt like I needed this new challenge, and I think that new challenge was to teach other photographers. So then it started with the iPhone photography, and then it started with teaching people master your camera. Master your DSLR was the original name for the old course, and then the new challenge for us is is taking a lot of that stuff that we're teaching and putting it together inside of the Photo Mentorship, which is our amazing membership program that I was just talking about. So what happens is, like, over time, your expertise for a 7 for me, over time, my experience and my failures and my successes and my pivots and all those things have come full circle. Not that I've arrived, but have come full circle to help me do what we're doing now, which is really the funnest time in my life, is to be able to do things like this podcast and to create the Photo Mentorship and to work with amazing world-class photographers like Rich and Brandon and Emily and Crystal and Kevin Carden. And it's just been an absolute blast. But here's where I feel guilty about as a 7. And I'm able to articulate this now. I'm teaching photographers how to pursue their dreams, but for me, it wasn't enough. I would feel bad. I'm teaching them how to do this, how to be this photographer and how to pursue their dream. But I know secretly that just being a photographer, just being a photography assistant wasn't enough for me. I wanted the next thing. Just being a wedding photographer wasn't enough for me. I wanted the next thing. Just shooting an album cover for me wasn't enough. I wanted to shoot an album cover that 2 million people would buy. And then it was the next thing. Just shooting that album cover wasn't. I wanted the next best thing. I wanted to work for this record label. I wanted to do this thing. I wanted to do this thing. A 7's say, hey, there's never enough, And then it's that wasn't enough. I wanted to shoot advertising campaigns for huge companies like Google or Sony or whatever, and so there's always that next thing. And then that wasn't enough. I wanted to write a book, and then that wasn't enough. I want, that's the 7 in me. It's not that photography wasn't enough. And that's the thing that I'm having to admit now, is that I'm a 7. I always need a new adventure. I always need to feel free because I'm motivated by that sense of freedom, and I'm actually really passionate about helping other people pursue their dreams. So, anyways, as a 7, I always feel like I need that next thing. Now, I'm happy that the Photo Mentorship and the podcast episodes, it's always a new thing that we get to talk about. So it's filling that need for me as a 7. I'm not doing the same family shoot every weekend or the same wedding. I know it's not the same one, but the same one each time, because for me as a 7, that's not good for me, right? But if you were a 3, heck yeah, man! Let's cross those things off the list, because that's what a 3 does. They are the achiever. But what did you want to say, Rich?
No, I'm just agreeing with you. Plus, it's great. That's why we started the Photo Mentorship, is just so all of us at David Molnar wouldn't get fired. David could just cut the lights off tomorrow and, be a mechanic. We never know what's going to happen here. What a conundrum we'd be in.
Yeah, I would love to be a mechanic. I'd be horrible at it. I'd break everyone's cars. Yeah, just to be clear, you can take a free online test. So I see there's some comments about people doing the. I think it's Enneagram Institute is the one that's $12. We're gonna look it up. My wife, it's the one that my wife and I took. We'll look it up, and we'll post a link to it. But a couple of you guys are gonna win it anyway. So
win it for free, which is the best.
Yeah.
So what we're gonna do in these later episodes is we're gonna bring on professionals that are way smarter than me and David. Me and David are smart, but we're gonna bring on some world class, sexy, smart people, and we're gonna tell you like we told you some of the downsides of the 7, but we're gonna let people that know the downsides of some of these numbers and the upsides of some of these numbers. So if you're a 7, to be clear, if you're a 7, it's almost hard to stay fulfilled. So as you're running left to right in this thing called life or this thing called photography, it's gonna always feel like it's never enough, and you want the next best thing, where sometimes, for your family, for yourself, you're going to have to settle to get things done and not be selfish. Because it's really hard. It's really hard for me not to be selfish. That's I'm a very selfish creature.
Sevens are super selfish.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to knock you. I'm saying I know for me, I'm selfish. I'm a little bit narcissistic and other things, and I realize it's a natural tendency for 7s. Now they can be life of the party and super fun, but they can be really selfish. And my wife, who's a 2, is the opposite of that, and so it's that understanding those differences can be really interesting. So let's talk.
And to talk about us some too, like I'm a 7 and David's a 7. David's way more introverted than I am. Like
Way
how
more
you
what?
see
What'd you
me
say?
right here, introverted.
Oh,
I would say
introverted.
like
Okay.
you need alone time to recharge.
I
Where
do.
like if I meet you at a coffee shop tomorrow, I'm gonna act just like this. I try really hard to be the same all the time. Some people love it, some people hate it. But just because me and David are the same number doesn't mean we're the same. Like yeah, we can both walk into a party. I can walk into a party full of people I don't know and thrive in that environment.
Yeah.
And it wasn't till later because I felt like I wasn't like that till college. I remember going to college at Liberty University in Lynchburg, and it's like freshman week, and like everybody's like sad and like crying on the hills, and I was the guy that was like, "Let's get in my car and go jump in a river," or "Let's go to Chick-fil-A." Like I was like, instead of being sad, let's go have fun. Like I ignore the things that make me sad. And with lots of therapy, I realized I do that in life too. Like I would avoid situations with my wife or conversations with my wife that
Sevens
made me
avoid pain.
sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I was avoiding pain so much to a flaw to where like I wasn't giving my wife the attention she needed, and thank God for good therapy, and
Yeah.
the fact that my wife loves me still, and even though I'm a jerk, and we can get past a lot of this stuff.
It's interesting. I was thinking about that, not your wife and therapy, but I was thinking about
Don't think about my wife.
how how like sevens try to avoid pain, and it's like I would not like negative feedback on photos. Like I'm like no, I have spoken.
Yeah.
like no, like I have spoken.
Do you remember that time? I like 10 years ago, I had an unhappy bride, and it upset me so much, and I thought it was like BS. So I went and like I sent it to like my friend Courtney Hathaway, who's a great photographer here locally. And she's like really mean. She's like brutal. She'd be like, "Rich, these pictures suck, and I hate you." Like she's just very honest, and I trust her opinion. And she's a great photographer. And then like for an extra step, I was like, "David, I need you to look at these pictures and tell me what you think." And I didn't give him any preface. And he's like, "Man, these are great. I love them." And I was like, "Okay, the bride is psycho," because I'm the same way. That negative critiquement of my photos like almost destroyed me emotionally. I couldn't handle it. And you can't make everybody happy. When you shoot 50 weddings a year over the course of 10 years, one of those 500 people are what it's going to be bad. So it's that kind of negative energy in my life just like would pull me down. Like I would be mean to my wife, I'd be mean to my kids. It was just I was negative. And it's just like from some stupid bride not liking my photos. And they were great photos.
Yeah.
Jerk.
I'm with you. Negative comments affect me a lot, like a whole lot. And especially if it's like someone that I trust, or whatever. Not even negative, but even constructive comments. Like like the sevens.
Like your flash course sucks.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good thing your flash course is awesome. That's coming out this week. Episode 1 is coming out this week, right? On Friday?
Friday.
Yeah. Rich has a brand new course called Speedlight Photography 101. Is that correct? Is that the right name? 101?
Correct.
And the first episode or the first module drops this Friday. Segment, it drops exclusively for the photo mentorship students. So if you're not in photo mentorship, what the heck are you doing? What are you waiting for? Go check out the photomentorship.com. Thephotomentorship.com. So anyways, go check out the photomentorship.com because Rich's course will be live starting this Friday. The negative comments are a thing that affect me a lot as a 7. And I would try to do whatever I can to avoid it, or just kind of like, okay, I'll just redo it. Like I don't want to talk about the negative thing.
Compartmentalize,
It's hard. It's tough. So I don't know. Does negative comments affect anyone like strangely, or depending?
David,
on your
you're a really
type?
bad. You're a really bad friend.
Like start pouring water down my face and start drying.
Yeah, that's okay. Fake tears. I would expect that from a 7. Fake tears.
Yeah, fake tears. Exactly.
I'd expect that from an 8.
You know what? It's interesting. Like, I don't know if this is a 7 thing. I wanted to talk about the introvert extrovert thing. So let me talk about that in a second.
Go for it.
But I don't know about this. But this is one of those things where like sometimes it's hard for me to get emotional. Like sometimes I feel like a robot. I'm like, why am I not like crying right now? Is that a 7 thing, or is that just a whole thing?
No, No, I don't think it is. I think it's partially a 7. So like me, I had so much trauma as a child. If you go back and listen to episode 3, you'll hear all about it. That I just kind of like
Jerk
only
face.
put my
Steve.
yeah.
Sorry, go
I
ahead.
w-
Go ahead.
I w- yeah. Oh, me? What?
No,
My
no,
mom
no.
died.
Steve
Why
said
are you
I can't stand those blue V-necks. Like, dude. Sorry, go ahead. All right, sorry. I interrupted you. Go ahead.
So I put all these safeguards, and the reason I'm funny, my therapist told me, is because I'm keeping people. If I'm the funniest person in the room, I control the room.
Yep.
I'm putting you at arm's length before I even meet you, before I know you. I'm not putting you down, but I'm being funny to assert myself in an area of authority. And I didn't even know I was doing that, and that's like something I've been doing since I was 8. So that's something I had to like learn about myself. I would make fun of somebody that I don't even know to their face, but as a joke, just to kind of like stay at arm's length away from them. And that's because I have a hard time feeling my own emotions. When I was in therapy, my therapist would like do stuff to me to relax my body. And she's like, "How do you feel?" And I'm like, "I don't know." She's like, "You're way more relaxed. Do you feel more relaxed?" And I'd be like, "No, I don't even." She's like, "Your shoulders have dropped 4 inches. Your breathing is slowed down. You're way more relaxed. Do you feel more relaxed?" And I'm like, "No." She's like, "Your homework is to try to feel your body more," which is really interesting. Even when I go to the gym, like I'll go to the gym and I'll crush a leg day and I won't even like feel the pain, because even physically, my mind is wired to ignore pain or to like pivot away from pain. It's really interesting. The more like, the internet says I'm a 7, but like my therapist that charges me $200 an hour also agrees with everything that thing's saying. So it's really interesting.
$200 an hour is an expensive therapist, but probably a good one.
Yeah, she's good though. I would shout her out all day.
That's great. Patricia Alexander Johnson said, "I just used my Godox photography lighting system that I won from TPM. Thank you. Love it. It's awesome."
What?
That's cool. That's awesome. Yeah, we give away stuff. We give away more stuff inside of TPM.
You need to send me your Godox, or I need to get one, because I was using Paul Buff stuff, which I love Paul Buff Nashville, but it was so hard to like. I did a Higgs, how I got the shot. I shot some burgers the other week, and I filmed a course on how to shoot food. And I posted that video, and like I was trying to explain it, and it has like the slide. It was just not very techy.
Yeah.
I just felt dumb.
Yeah, I am liking the Godox stuff. Well, we need to get you a kit for sure. Terry Miller says, "I'm a 7 and a 6." Maybe she means a wing 6. I think we're going to continue talking about this over the course of the next few weeks. I think that'd be pretty fun. Bring on some guests.
It'd be fun to bring on somebody who's not a 7.
Absolutely, yeah, because we're both 7s. We're both like spur of the moment, like squirrel, you know. So that has a thing. I want to talk about one thing real quick, because the introvert versus extrovert thing. This is something I'm learning about myself. So this week we're going to call this week is about the 7. Okay, so then next week it'll be about something else.
Something else.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Something else. Well, it'll be about a different number or a series of numbers. We'll get organized on it. We won't 7 y'all. We
won't. We'll wait till next Monday and then decide what we're doing.
Yeah, that's probably true. Because that's what 7s do. That's why we're always deciding.
Let's put us together
last minute. Yeah, exactly. That was not we should have had a 1. You and me should be a 1 in this. Anyways,
we don't listen. We don't listen to ones.
That's why we have Kristen. That's right. We don't listen to ones. All right, introvert versus extrovert. In the definition of introvert versus extrovert is how you recharge. It's not whether or not you can work a room or whether you can be life of the party. It's how do you actually recharge. And so many people think of me as the life of the party type guy because I can work a room. And like when we used to have parties at our photo studios, we'd have 100 people there, and I would like talk to every single person and just like do my best to make them all feel special. I can work a room. I love it. I love hosting workshops, which by the way, I just found a really awesome new photo studio here in Florida. I think it's called the Photo.studio. It's really awesome. I might be hosting a workshop there one of these days soon. We'll talk about it, Rich. But anyways, I love working a room. I love having parties. I love all that stuff. But what's interesting to me, and I thought, because I feel like I feed off of it and I feel so jazzed and I'm like excited. But what's interesting, what I'm learning is that I need alone time to recharge. I need that downtime to recharge because by definition, I am an introvert, even though I'm not like the quiet guy and like like I love being loud and obnoxious and work the room, but I need that alone time to recharge. And when I have people staying at my house, or when I don't get to read books or read the Bible or pray first thing in the morning and get some alone time, like some downtime, I'm not as good of a human being or not as good of a dad if my kids are like screaming first thing in the morning, like, and that's how I wake up, and I don't get that like that introvert time to like calm myself and like that quiet time. Like if I don't get that, then like it's not good. I'm in an unhealthy place.
Oh, super jerk.
Super jerk. Yeah. I'm an introvert, which is a weird thing for me to admit, and especially me admitting it on the air. But yeah, I'm actually an introvert. Like one of the things that what's interesting is that I would do at parties, and I just didn't really associate this, is I would like work the room, and then I'd go off by myself even for a minute and like just have like a minute by myself, like outside, or just something, and like look at the stars for a minute. And I don't think I really realized that. And I'd like recompose myself and then go back in and be like, hey guys, it's party time. You know, like what's interesting is like, I guess I had those little like quick recharges, or I would do it. And I don't even really think I realized that I was doing it. So when I have people staying at my house, people that I love, like my family or some really dear friends of ours or something like that, I realized that I need to have some time to like go and recharge. So this past weekend, we had some friends staying with us, and I love them, they're dear friends. I realized like I wasn't actually getting any time to myself, and I was like, I got to go for a bike ride. So I literally just got on my bike and I rode my bike for like an hour and a half. And not only was it, a workout, and well, it was an electric bike, so it wasn't that much of a workout, let's be honest. But not only was it like, workout and getting some vitamin D and all that stuff, which is really good for you, especially around a virus, to be healthy and all that stuff. But it was also like a recharge time for me, and I was like so much like happier. I felt so much like recentered, like when I came back. And so I'm realizing that I'm actually an introvert. And as a 7, it may not look like that from an external. I didn't believe that about myself. I always thought I was an extrovert. So interesting aside there. You're defined by introvert or extrovert by how you recharge. So if you recharge in a room of people, then quarantine is not good for you. Probably.
That's me.
Or it's probably really hard for you, right? If you're an introvert, then, like you like and you need that alone time to recharge.
That's where we're different. We're both 7s, but we're different.
Yeah. So you need those people. You gotta get out and go to a coffee shop to like recharge type thing.
Oh man, I found a coffee shop yesterday that's open to public, and it's in Manio, but I do not care. I'm so freaking pumped that I can go sit in a coffee shop because I love this space. You guys always see me here. I'm here all the time, but like. This is where I work, and like again, the 7-ness in me. I'm here, I'm editing. After about 2 hours, I'm like, this space is no longer creative for my brain. I must leave.
I'm the same.
Oh my gosh, I hate being right here, right now. I hate it.
But that's also not that's a 7 thing for sure.
That's like, a 7 thing.
I need to go
work
to. I need to go to coffee shops and like.
I'll go to a coffee shop and I won't get any work done. I'll just talk to the baristas the whole time and make them laugh. Like
thanks for letting me know.
Like when we do a live or something, like afterwards, like you need that downtime to recompose, and I'm jazzed. I'm like woo, like I'm ready to go. Mm-hmm. Like it's almost like a shot of espresso when I'm around people.
Yeah, I get it. I understand. I can see that. I can empathize. That makes sense. But yeah, like I definitely the interesting thing is I do feel energized occasionally when I'm around people. Like I feel really excited. I don't feel drained. But I'm noticing more often than not, if I don't get a break from people, then I'll be really drained and I need to go take a bike ride or something like that. So, hey,
you should just have more kids. You should have more kids.
I only wanted 2. I love my kids. My gosh, Juliet is the sweetest little thing in the world, and Rosie is a little firecracker. She's an 8. Dear Lord, help us. She's an 8. Oh 100%. My gosh. Yeah.
We'll talk about that next week.
Maybe we'll talk about 8s next week. I don't know. We're 7, so we'll figure it out right at the moment. But let's give away two copies of Ian Cron's book, The Road Back to You, and let's give away 3 copies of that test. That's at Enneagram Institute. No one's telling us to give this stuff away. We just We're just doing it.
We did it because we're awesome. I got those winners for you, little buddy.
You do?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Do you want them? Here, I'll send them to you.
I'm not even. Yeah, I want them.
Yeah, I want them.
Yeah, I want them. Hey, you guys, this podcast episode is brought to you by thephotomentorship.com. So go check out thephotomentorship.com, please. Go join us at thephotomentorship.com. Rich's brand new course, Speedlight Photography 101, comes out this Friday. First installment comes out this Friday. And we have, how many other courses do we have live right at this moment? 25? 27?
26. Mine's going to be 27.
26 other courses that you can go have unlimited access to stream, whether you want to learn editing or whether you want to learn camera basics or landscape photography or Photoshop, posing, natural light photography, studio light photography, speed light photography.
Honestly, anything you want. I'm excited.
Photography.
You know what's on my agenda for this week? I have it written out. I want to write out the astrophotography course. I just want to at least have it on paper because there's been some nights where I'm like, gosh, I should have been shooting tonight because I can see the Milky Way with my eye. And I'm like, it's such a great, like, that's not, you can do it. Like, watch this course. It'll take, 30 minutes. In 30 minutes, you can learn how to take the best photo of the Milky Way you've ever taken.
Right. Yep.
It'll be an hour and a half, but watch the first 30 minutes and I'll teach you how to do it.
The first 25 minminutes. Oh, inside jokes are the best. I love it. Okay, so go check out thephotomentorship.com and join us there.
.com.
What do
you want to give away first, the test or the books?
Hey, let's give away free 2 months to the photo mentorship to someone. I mean, we should do that. What do you think?
Yep.
What do you think?
2 months.
All right. While we pick someone, I'm gonna play y'all a little video about it. So that's a little preview of what you get inside the Photo Mentorship. Unlimited access to all of our courses, unlimited access to ask mentors like me or Rich or Brandon or Crystal or Emily. Unlimited questions. We do live TV shows like Edit with Emily or Basics with Brandon or Tech Talk with Rich or Lightroom with David or just one of our photography boot camps. This month we are going live with the one, the only, the incredible Photoshop artist, composite master, Kevin Carden. He has an amazing Instagram called Christian Photoshops, and he just does these incredible world-class composites. He's going to be doing a 4-week training inside exclusively for TPM members in the Photo Mentorship. So make sure and join us there if you're not already a TPM member. And I'm pretty sure that our members that are in there love TPM as well. So fantastic. We're going to give away free access, 2 months free to TPM. Do we have a?
Yes, I have everything. Okay. Just check what it says next to it. We're all straight.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. Okay, so the winner of 2 months free of the Photo Mentorship, where you get unlimited access to all of our courses and unlimited questions answered by photography experts, is Don Hoyt.
Don, let this be the dawn of the day that you take photography to the next level.
This is the dawn of a transition in your photography career. It's coming.
You can learn anything from me. You're welcome.
It's a red dawn.
Nice to meet me.
Yeah. Hoyt. It doesn't Hoyt at all. I promise.
Back weight a little bit.
Oh, man. All right, we're going to give away a test. No, we'll give away test, book, test, book, test. Did that? Wait, 3 tests, 2 books. Test, book, test, book, test. Yeah, there we go.
Super easy for our staff. I love it. Yeah. Test first.
We'll do it. We'll do them in sort of order. All right.
Nope.
Like like. Gosh, I was trying to pun that one. I'm not sure.
I know you were.
Sure. No, I can't think of it. I can't do it, man. Can't. Yeah, I don't know.
I'll let you win. As soon as you say it, you'll get one. The first winner of a test is
Simona Antonucci. Simona. Una Simona, like Semana is week or month. Meses is month in Spanish. Semana is week, I think. Never mind. Simona. Okay. Simona. Okay. Yeah, whatever.
Simona, you've won a free test to learn your number. And when you take the test, let us know your number in the comments.
Yes.
Put thanks for the test, unless you hate us. And then put I'm a 3, I'm a 4, I'm a 9.
I'm a 15.
Just don't be a 1. Nobody likes a 1.
Yeah.
Just kidding. My boss is a 1. And she's listening right now, I hope.
Okay. All right. So the next winner is, you can announce this one, the first book winner of The Road Back to You.
Book winner is a dear friend, Carol Fulton. Carol, you've won a book.
All right,
The Road
Carol.
Back to You.
All right.
Carol, you've won
your
a book.
Bookshelves are going to be more Fulton than they were before. No? Sing us
No, we're giving this to you on cassette. We never said how you're getting the book.
Gosh, it's not the cassette. All right, and the next test is... This is Zimmer. Jacob Zimmerman.
Jacob? Zimmerman. Jacob Zimmerman.
Jacob.
Congrats. I
want
to know what you are.
Jacob, but like Jacob. Okay. All right, Jacob. All right, Zimmerman.
Jacob.
That's like a zinger.
Jacob.
Jacob. Yeah, I'm not sure.
There's a couple Zimmermans. I went to high school for the Zimmerman.
Okay. Yeah. I don't remember. All right,
Nikki.
And the next book winner is...
She was hot. She probably still is.
Nikki Zimmerman.
Nikki Zimmerman.
I don't know who that is. All right. So, sorry, Nikki, if I don't remember who you are. Okay.
I remember you. Just don't tell me why.
Gosh. Okay.
I was 14, David. Okay, give me some grace. Give me some grace. Everybody's hot.
Anyways, the winner of the book, the second winner of the book, The Road Back to You, is Susan Pollock. Powell, maybe? She's definitely our pal now, right?
Susan, you've won a book. I haven't read this book.
Susan, let's have a powwow.
Oh, it's Jacob. It was a typo. It's Jacob.
I'm sorry, Jacob.
I like Jacob better. Sorry, Jacob.
I was like, I'm wondering why it's not Jacob. But okay. But I was like, Jacob's a cool name.
It was given to us incorrectly, so we apologize for their mistakes because we don't make them as sevens.
Okay, and so do we do?
That's it.
No.
Yeah.
We got one more test to give away. Did we give away the books out of order?
I think we did them all, my friend. We did them all.
Nope, we didn't do this one. We didn't give away this third test.
Okay. I'll let you know because I'm lost now. You just give it away. Give it away now. Give it away.
It was a little bit confusing. I don't even know what the heck we just did, but I'm not sure how we did that. I'm not sure how we did this. But the last one is Shannon Poldrack. We didn't give away the test that we have a winner for her.
Oh yeah, Sharon. Oh yeah, I see that now. My mind just didn't see that. Sorry, Sharon.
That's Shannon.
See, that's my brain.
Poldrack. It's kind of like Poldark, which is an amazing TV show. Got a little weird there in season 2, but an amazing TV show. Poldark. It's on PBS or something. Masterpiece, Classics, whatever. Okay, Shannon Poldrack, you have won another test. So we gave away a book to Susan Powlick. We gave away a test to Simona Antonucci, Jacob Zimmerman. So a test to Simona, a test to Jacob, a test to Shannon, and also a book to Carol Fulton. And we gave Dawn Hoyt free 2 months. And hopefully that won't hoit her at all.
Dawn, come say hi to us. Come see us on Wednesday. Come see us Wednesday for another live and another chance to win something because we give stuff away all the time.
Okay, sweet. Hey, you guys are awesome. Next week we're going to be talking more about Enneagram. Hopefully you guys can y'all let me know in the comments if y'all like that idea of like us continuing on the series on Enneagram and talking about how that can affect your photography career and maybe which Enneagram number is the best as a photographer. Just kidding. That's not really a thing. It's probably
Cool.
a 4.
Cool. I'd be interested to see who some people are. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh wow, you know, it makes sense. Like every time I hear it, I'm like, oh yeah, it makes sense you're a 3. Like I'm like, oh, it kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Let us know in the comments if you guys like that idea. You're saying yes to Poldark. Just don't give away any blue V-necks, says Steve. Thanks a lot, Steve. Yeah, there we go. Such givers. Congrats. All right. So I think you guys like the idea of continuing on. Cannot talk. I think it's lunchtime. With this thought process. Yes, please. Says Kavita. Terry saying congrats. Fantastic. Kimberly Strength. That's a cool middle name. Sangster says, we did the Enneagram at work, and it really helped us all understand each other better. Absolutely. Awesome. And Kavita is saying, yes, please. So fantastic. All right. Well, thank you all so much for tuning in to
episode. We should have the
24
24 music.
Oh, yeah. Come on, dude. You could have got on that. Oh, well. We'll have something for 25. 25 is kind of a big number, you know?
Yeah.
Next week is episode 25. So
we'll have the most amazing podcast ever next week.
Yep. Don't miss it. All right, you guys are amazing. Thank you all so much for tuning in.
Ooh, one last thing. Guess what?
What?
I love you.
Oh, Rich. Are you talking about me or the students? We'll never know.